Yeah, speaking of staying indoors over holiday weekend, did you guys play any video games? Actually, I know you played
That's
some.
where we're going with this.
Let's just talk about Hyperscape. I want to talk about. You can talk
Hyperscape.
about that, right? That's like a public-ish
Yeah,
beta.
yeah. They
A
did
technical test.
their Twitch drops thing
Oh,
and announced
God,
it. And
I hate that.
I
That's
feel
just
like
the way things are going now. Apparently,
well, you got to build engagement, right? You got to be able to.
I was trying to get a drop for a while just on the first day, and it was actually really handy because it forced me to watch the game, and I learned a lot more than if I went in blind, which was, I don't know, it was an interesting idea because I bet the same thing happened for Valorant, where like people who were watching and waiting and trying to get codes like came in with a fairly basic understanding of the game, and you're watching a streamer play who's breaking it down and the technical side of it.
How long did it take you to get one? Because it took me like less than 10 minutes. I
eventually got a code.
I hit my drop down and went like, oh, apparently I got one 10 minutes ago, and okay.
I had one. I had a stream open all day, and I didn't get one. I eventually got a code. Directly.
Yeah. So I just kind of got it and fired it up without knowing too much about it, other than seeing that initial trailer and all that other stuff. This will sound harsh.
okay.
And won't make it's not a perfect analogy because Apex is also a free game, but it's like someone made a free-to-play version of Apex Legends. It's like if Tencent made Apex Legends. It's like the whole thing comes across like, hey, we wanted to kind of, and when you get into it, I think it has more depth than that, and like it had the hacks and different abilities and stuff. But at first glance, the weapon models and a lot of that look, I just looked at it and was just like, geez.
It's like somebody made a free-to-play version of an already free-to-play game. It's like,
really?
That was harshest criticism.
Yeah, that like my first impression of it was like, man, y'all really wanted to make a post Apex Legends Battle Royale game, didn't you?
Let me ask real fast before you get into it. I watched the reveal trailer. Did you guys see that? Like, it is bursting at the seams with like attitude in the form of first-person animations of like flipping guns around and like doing.
It's a lot of,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is that all in the game, or is that stuff they genned up for that reveal trailer? Like,
when you change weapons, like the weapon will materialize in the air and like gravitate into your hand in a lot of cases. I think that it probably depends on the weapon.
Okay.
Or I don't know what the animation is, but like it's a lot of like gun dematerializing, new one materializing, catching it, like those types of animations.
Like, does that stuff get in the way of the gameplay, or is it just kind of...
No, because it's just like it takes the same amount of time that it would take for a model to drop and come back up in any other shooter. It's not some slow thing. It seems like it has some neat ideas, but I honestly I didn't have any fun with it.
I really liked I liked the look right out the gate. I thought it was going for something, very like future-y, I get the Apex comparisons, but for me it's way more like sci-fi. The gun design is way different. It's like weird future tech weapons. Like this is a weird cannon that shoots an orb and the orb explodes, whereas most of Apex's stuff is like a shotgun.
It's the shock rifle. Could you do shock combo with it?
It honestly, I don't know. I'm speaking out of turn here because I'm not a Quake expert, but the movement to me feels a little reminiscent of a Quake. It's very like you move fast. The slide is different.
Didn't see a lot of jump pads in that trailer?
There's a lot of bouncing. There's jump pads, so it does have like a Quake 3 jump pad sort of thing.
I like the look.
I think specifically it's like some of the, like that main assault. There's that main assault rifle that I think looks a lot like the R201. And like there's just weapons here and there that you just look at and go like these look like they could have fallen out of Apex. But you're right, like the big, like the heavy chain gun-ish looking thing that seemed to be the thing that they were nerfing as of yesterday, I think. It's got a different look to it. But yeah, first glance it was just like, geez, Cyberpunk Apex was my first impression.
It's a lot more urban, isn't it, than Apex?
Like, it's like a big city.
It's a big city.
That's my biggest complaint with the game, at least visually. But so it does an interesting thing where it's teams of 3 right now only, and it splits it out so everyone's dropped or equal. People are equally dropping from the corners. So you like randomly are like, I'm in this 1/4 of the people are in the southeast corner, 1/4 of the people are in the southwest corner. So there's not like a drop ship and you drop. So you're kind of dropping from a different direction every time.
And you can drop anywhere you want. Like you can fly straight in your drop pod and get anywhere on the map you want to. But the catch is that the longer you're up there, the more people are down there getting guns.
But my big issue with it is, aside from like a few large buildings that are distinct, a lot of it is very samey. It's a lot of very similar architect. The game has a real verticality to it. It's all about like getting on top of buildings fast, and then like your fight goes into a building and you're running up and down. So a lot of the like filler buildings all kind of look the same. They're just like very kind of square architecture, and dropping down, it's like, so one of the coolest parts to me about a battle royale is like figuring out your favorite spots to drop. Sure. And this just kind of was like, I don't know, this gray building or that green building. They color coded a little bit the different areas. And the way it works is it's not a circle closing. It's like different areas just kind of disintegrate. So that'll let you know like, oh, I need to get out of these red buildings and into an area with green buildings because this area is like about to disintegrate or whatever. But I don't know.
What was the game? Was that what was the game that was all in the snow and there was like a DM type player that was like controlling things? Because that was the same type deal. It was like sectors would close off. It wasn't.
What was that called?
Anyway, that thing.
It's not a new idea.
Yeah. I think that they do break out of that architecture for like their main areas. So like when you see all the names on the map, there's some that are like larger locations that are meant to be like, hey, these are the kind of more designed spots, and so you'll find like a train station with some trains in it, and,
like a power
and stuff
station
like that.
Or whatever.
But like they do this thing, and I don't know why, and it's weird. And I didn't play a ton of it just because I was like bounced off it super quickly. But they put up these barriers, these like there are no, it doesn't seem like there are openable doors per se.
No,
it's just like there's a shield type texture like over a window doors. Like this orangey kind of thing, and you have to shoot it or hit it with your melee weapon to cause it to disintegrate and open up. And so I guess that's like then tactical because you have to make some kind of noise to open that area. But I found myself always in this situation. I was like, well, I don't want to spend ammo, and now I have to hold down the weapon switch button to, like on a keyboard, probably a little different. And then change to melee to break it down, and then change back.
You should map a melee button. It's
can you do that? Because it didn't. Because I tried on controller like most of the time, and then switched to keyboard when to see if that was any better.
I think it's defaulted actually. I had one on mouse button that was just like automatically assigned.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Because on controller it doesn't seem like it is, because it has a like the click in the right stick, which would kind of be your default melee in a lot of these types of shooters, is the ping. Is like the hey, ping a weapon, ping a thing button. So yeah, like that whole thing of like having a direct melee button kind of mitigates a lot of that, because instead it was like I have to switch to this and do this and then switch back, and that seemed clunky. But also just like the idea of like, hey, these aren't necessarily doors per se. So I found myself running up to a lot of doors and being like, oh right, none of these open. Yeah. And I thought that was kind of dumb. I don't know. It's just the cool thing about it, I think, are the hacks, and the way they handle kind of different tiers of weapons. Like basically, if you have a weapon and find the weapon again, you pick that one up, and your weapon levels up to tier 2.
That's kind of cool.
And up to like tier 4 or whatever. Okay, so instead of like here's like legendary or
bonus thing at max tier.
It'll usually be like increased mag size, and then the top end will, for a lot of the guns will end up being like now it does a little bit more damage, or something like that.
Is it hero based?
No.
No.
Oh no.
You choose a character, but it's basically like, what accent do you want to hear?
Oh
yeah.
So no inherent like special abilities.
No. So the special abilities you pick up, and you have 2 slots for abilities, and there are a lot of them, and that seemed like kind of the cool thing. And
some of them are pretty basic, like heal or shield, but then some of them get pretty wacky. Like you're just in a giant hamster ball, and you can bounce around in this giant hamster ball.
I feel like that's
Overwatch
like the
style,
thing
or
I mean, kind of. It's just like a big ball, and you like jump. You can jump super high out on it. There's like a ground pound that'll knock enemies into the air, and then you can kind of shoot them out of the air. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the ball is like the most visually distinctive thing that you look at and go like, okay, this is what this seems to be what they're going for.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that kind of made it stand out as a little bit different.
I agree. I think they should lean into that stuff more and just have
for
wackier
sure.
abilities and stuff like that.
Yeah, and same type deal. If you find two of the same ability, it'll reduce the cooldown on it, and so on and so forth. Which I think that's a really smart way to handle it, because then like if you're like at a tier 3 and then you kill somebody and they drop another one, it's not like, oh, this one's worse than the one I have. It's like, oh, this will always feed into kind of propping me up a little bit higher. And I thought that was kind of a neat way to go with it. They rolled out a solo mode over the weekend. But it's called Dark Haze. And I just kind of wanted to get used to just shooting guns and getting in encounters. And playing on teams was a frustrating. Playing on random teams was frustrating because there is a revive mechanic, but no one was doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And so it was like every time I went down, it was like, well, now I'm going to wander around for 2 minutes and hope that, as a ghost, and hope that someone revives me. And it just never happened. And
I actually like that mechanic when it works. I mean, I was playing with other people for most of it, but then I played a few games by myself. And basically the way it works is like, you have to be revived at the site where somebody else dies. So if there's a big fight, you kind of, if your team wins, it's easy to like, okay, I'm going to just hop back where I die, wait for my teammate to revive me, and I'm back. But like, if you guys lose a fight, you have a chance to kind of like have the one person run away, and then it'll show you the nearest one just on the map. You can see like, okay, there's one like 200 meters
like a respawn
way.
Point, basically.
Yeah. And you run at it and then res there. But then there's like an element of it that we found where like sometimes people would camp those out and just like wait for people to come and try and revive. And I thought it's the most interesting take on like reviving in a battle royale I've seen. Because like the Apex stuff is pretty straightforward. It's like you bring your guy to a beacon and then revive them. But
which at that point it was like the very idea of like, hey, you can respawn was like, whoa. So that, I think that's and
I do like that.
I didn't realize that it was like where people died that caused those things to spawn. I thought it was just like some set areas around the map that would do it. That's interesting.
And I do really like you keep your full like range of movement when you're dead. Like you can do the slide, you can do the double jump and stuff. It's not just like a lot of times when you die and are a ghost in a game, you can just like walk and you're like this is.
And you can still ping, so you can still kind of call out enemies, or I guess if you're on voice chat, you're on voice chat. But you can still kind of call out to your teammates like, hey, there's a guy camping me right now, so we're fucked.
It has some good context sensitive pings. Like if you ping near an enemy, it'll be like a red exclamation mark or stuff like that. I really like the movement in this game. It's so snappy. You got that slide that gives you a nice boost of speed, which was in Apex, but like this is even in Apex, it was really only good if you're like going downhill and then slide. Like then you could kind of really move. In this, like you'll just see good players like run, jump, slide, jump, run, jump, slide, jump, and you can just like book it across the map.
Yeah, I mean, Hyperscape, it's a city, so it doesn't really have hills, like it didn't really find any like huge slopes like Apex has. There's some stuff like that here and there, but yeah, so the Dark Haze mode you play alone, but it like it lowers visibility, so it puts a bunch of fog on the map. I thought the fog looked kind of rough, but I don't know. So I tried that thinking like, okay, if I don't have to worry about sticking with teammates and trying to hope that I get revived or that I revive them or whatever, maybe I'll at least get like some more time in with the guns and like some of the abilities. Like there's like a homing mine that seemed like a neat idea. You kind of plant down. If anyone gets near, it'll start to head in their direction. And little stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that you're kind of making me want to go back to it because honestly, the movement didn't stand out at all. To me, the run jump slide stuff, the slide didn't seem great when I tried it. Like the jump pads seem okay. You have a double jump, and so you can kind of hit a jump pad and then double jump to limit the height of it. If you're like, oh, I want to get in this middle window or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that seemed kind of neat, but yeah, I don't know. The movement didn't really stand out. So I don't know. The tech test ends tonight, so got about 12 more hours to fuck around with it.
And then it's just gone for a while.
Yeah. They're going to do it in phases, it sounds like. So.
Problem with was getting used to the time to kill because it's just way higher. I felt like
the weapons feel weak to me. I felt like it just
unless you had a fully upgraded weapon, I felt like it was, especially because it's so maneuverable and it's so easy to get away, and there's so many buildings that you can like slide into one fairly unseen. That I had trouble. Like I would get a kill now and then, but like in Apex, which even that has a relatively high time to kill compared to like PUBG or Call of Duty. Even in that one, like if there's an encounter, like a 3-on-3 encounter, most likely one team is going to win that encounter and kill the other 3 players. In this one, I had tons of fights that would be like, okay, there was a fight and then one person died and everyone ran away because like it's just so hard to kill somebody and impossible to chase them down unless you had a scan available or something like that.
Yeah, Hyperscape's a weird name. It's a weird. I don't know. It's a weird game. I don't know. I guess I did not expect Ubisoft to just kind of stealth drop a battle royale.
Yeah, is this the first big battle royale since Apex? I'm trying to think if
Ring of Elysium seemed like it was going to maybe be big there for about an hour and a half before everyone got scared and uninstalled it.
I don't even remember who.
Well, Warzone came after that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah. So Modern Warfare is the last.
Sure.
The last.
Of course, even
big
they
one.
had done Blackout before that, so they had even taken a stab.
You're right. You're right. But like this is, I would say Warzone is so dramatically different from Blackout.
Obviously.
But
I mean, like sort of like brand new contenders trying to throw their hat in the ring. Like,
sure.
I don't know. That
Yeah,
there's
it's
room
unexpected
for
for sure. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't grab me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try it more.
I want to try it a little bit more tonight. Maybe now that you're the way you're talking about the movement makes me want to kind of just get back in and move around a little bit more and see what's up. But
I would love to see more, like we were saying, more creativity when it comes to like the guns and the weapon or the skills and stuff. I want them to get like really weird with that stuff, and I could see them doing it like, you know, start out with some grounded stuff so that people can come into it if they've played like Call of Duty or whatever. It's like, okay, I can pick up this assault rifle, I can pick up this shotgun, I understand these weapons, but then like slowly over the course of it, roll out some weirder stuff.
Yeah.
One last question from chat before we move on. They want to know what they call the chicken dinner.
I haven't won.
I don't know.
Seen it on a stream or anything?
Yeah, no.
All right.
I did see, I forget what it was, but I did see somebody win. They had the wall upgrade. You can basically build a wall, and you can build a wall on top of the wall. And when you build the wall, it puts you on top of the wall. And they got to the last area and just built up and up and up and up. And they were just at the top of the skybox looking down, and the people on the ground died before they did, and they won.
Oh, is there any fall damage?
No. I want to say no.
I don't
Not
think
off like
there
a
is.
roof,
Yeah.
so I'm assuming not anywhere.
Okay.
A couple people in the chat said a victory is called the crown or crown champion or something like that.
Oh, right. They call it like they kind of build it as a like virtual reality game show competitive thing called Crown Rush. So yeah, that makes sense.
Crown Rush.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I'm with you from last week that Prisma Dimensions would have been a way better name.
Oh,
I don't know if
cool.
that shows up in the game at all.
It's like a corporation that is
Okay.
putting on the game, I think is what it is. But you see a Prisma logo here and there. But also Prisma Dimensions I don't think evokes
Maybe not.
Prisma Rush.
Sure. That would be a little.
What if it was a battle royale entirely inside the computer?
I think that's kind of
I think what it is.
they talk about you hooking up through some kind of B link, which I think it means butt.
Yeah.
It's like some kind of
Well, that's where the data port is.
A
Yeah.
diaper with a tube.
It's the best place to take your temperature.
Exactly. So yeah, it is a virtual thing. Like the first thing you do is they're like, choose which character you want to be your avatar or whatever, you know, like so they're pretty much on the surface saying that this is some kind of VR.
Would you guys
thing.
have liked this more if it was just framed in the world of the 90s cartoon Reboot?
Yeah, probably.
No.
Yeah, that goes for most things, though.
Yeah.
Reboot's terrifying.
What?
Reboot gave me nightmares as a child.
Well, what if you could gun down 99 other
As
reboots?
long as I don't have to look at my like 3 poly hands, then I'm fine.
I mean, you're just
It
holding
would be out of control. It'd be great.
Yeah, looking at some images of Reboot, I guess I could see how it might be a little creepy.
I was somehow
not
fine
fair.
with Beast Wars, which I feel like was equivalent level of.
Oh, come on, Bat.
Was
Beast
it
Wars
better?
is disgusting and an
was better.
affront. On top of that, Beast Wars is it's like watching a crime be committed. It's like God, just
There was like Cheetah Man. That was cool as hell.
Cheetor?
Cheetor.
God, now I'm being reminded that later on in Reboot they had the little kid grow up and become some
Enzo?
like, super tough super soldier.
Yeah,
Is there like
his
a time
eye was
travel
gone.
thing there?
Yeah, there's a time skip.
How about a battle royale set in the world of Xavier Renegade Angel?
There we go. Now I'm in.